EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for the weekend, December 17th and 18th, 2022, the week before Christmas already. Weekend video forecast is proudly sponsored by Bozergeist Brewing Company in Easton. They are located at 1250 Simon Boulevard in Easton, very close to Lafayette College. They are purveyors of fine craft beer in the Lehigh Valley region of Pennsylvania. They have a vast beer selection from IPAs to ales to stouts and sours. They also have a fantastic menu selection, live entertainment, open mic nights, and trivia nights, and are open 5 days a week between Wednesday and Sunday. They are set up in the Easton Winter Village, downtown on the Circle. Be sure to stop by their hut for one of their locally made craft beers now through this weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, these are the last days they're going to have it. And then it's, of course, Christmas next week, so that'll be the end of that. They are Bozergeist Brewing Company in Easton, proud sponsors of the weekend video forecast. So this weekend is going to be dry. This is our departing system off to our northeast that affected the region Thursday into Friday, which is right here. Okay, taking a parting shot here for northern New England on the way out of here, but that will be leaving in this direction, out of the way, right? So that's gone. We are left with mostly sunny skies this weekend. As you see above me, temperatures are going to be colder than average. 32 to 42 today, even colder Sunday, 30 to 38. So it's a good day to stay in and watch football, or do some last-minute Christmas shopping, which I still have to do. But at least the weather is going to be cooperating this weekend with mostly sunny skies both days, and it's going to remain dry for this entire week, we think. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are partly cloudy days. And no precipitation. I'm going to move this all the way up to Thursday because this is going to be our next system coming in, and I want to stop it right here. This is the Canadian run from this evening, and I use this on purpose. I want to show you like the doldrums of this system first. Okay, yesterday in the video I was talking about this system coming at the end of the week. It is still there. It has been a storm signal for a long time now. I still don't think it's going to be a cutting system. I just don't. My gut feeling says it's not. My gut feeling always isn't right, though, so we'll see. We'll see how this evolves. The Canadians insisting this is going to be a cutter and warm and rain, okay? And here is this is the height lines right here. See the top of the red here? Look how far the southeastern ridge is pumping ahead of this thing. This is really, really warm stuff pushing against this ridge, and it's going to keep going up in advance of the system that's cutting off to our west. That's what happens when you have a cutting system, and it is primarily, in that case, primarily in the form of rain. Okay, so I'm just going to move this forward. Let me go back first. Okay, here's the morning of. This is Thursday morning. Okay, Thursday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. You see what this map looks like. I'm going to move this over to the GFS now at the same exact time, and it's already a world of difference. Okay, and that is because your height lines, instead of being way up where they were, are now up here like this, okay? A lot further south, not so amplified, right? We don't have that big amplification with the GFS. It's a lot flatter. Here's that southern stream low that was shown yesterday that develops right here in advance of the system. And this is going to be maybe a 1-2 punch here along the coast. That's possible. I'll show you that in a second here, too. Well, we'll go through the Canadian model first, and it just shows this rain, rain, rain. Here comes a trough. There's no secondary development. It tries to plow it through a trough somehow. I don't know, or through a ridge somehow. And then you have primarily rain for the system. The cold front moves through. You might get some flakes in the back end, and that's it. It gets windy with this system pulling through here as well, with its very tight pressure gradient here involved with this particular system. So, and then after that, we are dry for the end of next week, which would be Christmas Eve. Okay, so that's getting into next Saturday. So the GFS, on the other hand, is still doing this, okay? It has this low developing here on the southeastern U.S. coast, but again, the height lines aren't very high here, so you're not getting all this warmth out ahead of it. So it brings snow in here from the first low, right? And then has a trailing low behind it at the base of this trough coming in, and just plows us with all kinds of wintry precipitation here, and a pretty good snowstorm out of this, right? And this gets tucked up by Long Island at 974 millibars, and he turns into a really big snowstorm for this particular region and points north into New England. Okay, so that's a completely different scenario. Well, why is it doing that? That's the question, and I can tell you why. Here is Thursday morning on the Canadian model. Notice this ridge that's sitting out here. It's a ridge actually like this. It's very sharp right? What goes up must come down. So it actually is going to end up cutting up in this direction here because this ridge position is way too far to the west. The reason it's that far to the west is it has to do with what's going on above it, okay? So we have to figure out why it's so far west and why it is going to get squashed, all right? So there's this little upper level low that is sitting in between here, between these two ridges. You have a negative NAO right here, okay? This is your Greenland block. And then you have a very strong high pressure that's sitting over, it's off the map a little bit, but a piece of it you can see here. This is over Siberia, okay? What this ends up doing is these two end up linking up and going over the polar regions, and you have a very strong block over top of the pole, cross-polar block. And it forces this upper level low to move out in this direction like this, okay? And it's going to squash the ridge a little bit, keep it out here, right? Squash it, and then it's going to make it turn and do one of these numbers here, which it cuts west of our region. If you get over to the GFS, a little bit different of a scenario. We don't have that cross-polar block here. You have the NAO right here. You have that, here's that strong Siberian high, right? But you see opening space in here. You still have this upper level low. So because of that space, this ridge is now further east over the western part of the United States. And this low, instead of going this way, will end up going down south here like this, okay? And I'll just move this forward so you can see how this works. Okay, so this is all dictated by the upper air pattern. And if the models are not correct on any one of these features, it's going to be different. And I expect both of them to be different by the time we get to next week, okay? Huge ridge out here in the west. Big amplification. The trough turns negative. And then you can put a big L right here because that's where it is. There's a big low sitting out here right with that upper level low. And this is a very good setup for a winter storm, okay? So it's still there on the GFS. Now, this isn't... The Canadian model looks very similar to the European model, right? Now watch this little bugger here as you get the bridging. Look at that bridging going across the poles here. This ends up going westward into the EPO region, squashes this ridge, and this is forced to turn to the northwest of our region, and we get a rainstorm out of it. So that's where the differences are between the two. They are vast differences. And this is not a situation where you can sit here and say, well, the Canadian model and the European model are in bed together, while the proverbially and the GFS is on its own, so it's wrong. That's not how it works. Not how it works, okay? Every one of these could be wrong, or just any one of them can be right, okay? And you can't just pick the GFS because it shows what you want to see, which is a white Christmas potential for some of you. Some of you don't want it. So we'll see how this works out. You're going to get a storm regardless, okay? This is not missing. Just a matter of precipitation type, and the track is going to dictate that. So we don't know that yet. Whether it's going to be something like this that's off the coast here like this, or hugging the coast. I can buy the hugging the coast. I'm not buying the one that comes in and cuts over through Detroit and all the way out here. I just don't see that happening just yet. That's just my gut feel. That's all I have is a gut feel for you right now. Once we get to next week, I'll have a better understanding of this. I think everybody will. I see a lot of declarative statements on Twitter and wherever else from professional meteorologists that think they have this figured out already. They don't, just like I don't, okay? But when we get into next week, hopefully we'll have those answers and you start getting into some kind of better agreement. Can this cut west? I said yesterday I didn't think it could, but yes, it can, okay? It can. I can see what's going on here. Some of the ensemble members yesterday were hinting at that. I kind of like, there wasn't too many of them, but now there's more of them. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Just be patient. I know next week's a big week with the holidays coming and travel and things like that. As soon as we get the information, we will get it out to you so you have that information, but don't expect anything for before early next week at the earliest. And that's not a map. It's just what the idea of what's going to happen. We'll know by then, hopefully by Monday or the latest Tuesday, right? So that's next week, and we'll have that information for you at that time. In the meantime, if you're an avid model watcher, don't kill yourself this weekend watching these models. They're going to go back and forth and flip and flop, and again, next week is when we should start settling down a little bit, and that's why we're just kind of just waiting and see. Just be patient, and we'll find out what's going on for the end of next week, which is next Thursday, Friday. That's the time frame. Thursday into Friday is a 2-day event, or at least a day and a half event. We'll narrow that down, too, when we get closer. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchus. That is your outlook for the weekend, December 17th and 18th, 2022. Have a great Saturday and Sunday.